So I have to admit that I grew up enjoying Winx Club. Not that that's something to like confess or feel guilty about, but this is a show I grew up on, and even though the fandom is not as big as it used to be, and the show's cultural relevance has kind of dwindled over the years, because again, the show's like 21 years old or about to be 22. But I think the show has a special place in so many people's hearts. I mean, every time there's a commentary channel that talks about this show, so many people come to those videos and just talk about their love for this show. And it's so heartwarming to see because sometimes when you think a fandom is truly dead, someone makes a piece of content or an article or some kind of art, and everyone who was a fan of it once or is and hasn't been able to just, I don't know, enjoy being present as a fandom, as a member of the fandom. It's so heartwarming to see all those people collectivize and talk about their love for that piece of media. And, you know, that being said, I want to shift over to another thing that I like to do. And I like to type in onto Google two things that I really, really love. For example, Taylor Swift and Stray Kids. And I hope to like find any kind of crossover in between them. And luckily for me, Stray Kids and Taylor Swift have a lot of crossover, and that's very cool. So I guess when I was younger, not really younger, but when I finally got into K-pop in 2022, I googled maybe during 2023. I don't remember, but this idea has been kind of like marinating since for maybe 2 or 3 years now. But I googled K-pop and Winx Club, and to my surprise, well, maybe not a surprise to everyone else, but to my surprise, there was Reddit posts talking about what positions each of the Winx girls would, take up. Like when I googled it today for researching this video, and I saw like shorts and TikToks about like what members would fit into what K-pop groups. And me myself actually have like I've actually like if you remember, I made a YouTube short talking about like which song fits each of the Winx girls, and if you remember the caption foreshadowing, I was foreshadowing to this video. But yes, there was a lot of correlations, and I was like so happy to see like I was not typing into no results found. Like I was glad that that wasn't something I was typing into, and I found results. So and then I felt the need to just kind of indulge in like the Winx Club and K-pop correlation and similarities, and like indulge in that kind of content. But it wasn't until a couple weeks ago when I was like watching a Winx Club commentary video that I realized that I needed to make a video just talking about Winx Club to K-pop, and kind of like a timeline of sorts, like the Winx Club to K-pop timeline. No, not timeline. I'm using the wrong word. Pipeline. So yes, I felt the need to just talk about it. So I made the thumbnail, and I actually sat down to write the script only just recently. So I want to talk about how my first exposure to K-pop wasn't just Psy. Funnily enough, it was actually Girls' Generation. I know this sounds funny because it was actually just genuinely like indirect exposure, but it was exposure nevertheless. And I remember watching a breakdown of this season 6 trailer, and the creator pointed out that the girls were doing like a dance routine, and they referred to they actually started referring to a girl group. And I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, and I will correct myself if I'm wrong, but I remember the creator was pointing out the Paparazzi music video by Girls' Generation, and, you know, that was probably the first experiences that I actually kind of had of K-pop, aside from Psy's music. And, it's pretty interesting how, unknowingly, K-pop has kind of impacted my life and has kind of entered media that, like, I watched when I was younger. And it's so interesting that K-pop has had an effect on a lot of the things that I have consumed, whether that is watching YouTube shorts or just watching a cartoon show. It was very interesting. A second scenario was actually that the Winx Club creators took inspiration or from Girls' Generation. And by the way, I'm using inspiration because I know a lot of Winx Club fans tend to say that the Winx Club creators copied the Girls' Generation or just K-pop in general. And again, I don't know enough to just throw accusations around here. And, and I did remember when I was younger that they did say, I did remember someone mentioning that the creators took inspiration from K-pop as kind of like a way to honor it. I don't remember, but I was very young when that thing was told to me. But again, this is just the younger version of me talking to you right now, because that's what she remembers, but I could be completely wrong because I was just a child when that was told to me. But yes, don't count me on it, but the second instance came from the World of Winx spin-off show that came out of Winx Club. And I have things to say about that show, but this is not the video to do it. So in one of the first seasons, not one of the first, you can't have multiple first seasons, but in the first season of the show, in one of the episodes, the Winx girls are on the beach. And as you know, if you've watched Winx Club, that this show loves making music. And this show has had a lot of banger music, okay? It was very much a vibe to be a 10-year-old and have, like, Heart of Stone be playing in the background while you're drawing. Like, that was very fun, okay? But anyway, back to what I was saying, and I lost where I was going, but what I was saying is that in that World of Winx scene, the show kind of breaks out into a song, and if you notice, the song is very much party-themed. And if you happen to be a Girls' Generation stan, you notice that, like, a lot of the clips from the show have a lot of similarities to the music video scenes in the Girls' Generation music video of Party. So, again, I'm not saying this is, like, plagiarism or this is just honoring Girls' Generation. I don't know. But this did allow me to indulge in the idea that Winx Club and K-pop have connections towards each other. Not towards, but with each other. And that was so exciting because when two things you like kind of have crossover, it's kind of very exhilarating. And it gives you so many ideas. And, this also led me to question myself that maybe it was almost my fate to end up enjoying K-pop. Maybe there was, like, this, with all these indirect influences, I would have eventually found K-pop because, well, there must have been some kind of pipeline. I really started thinking about a potential pipeline, and I don't know. I was thinking about it, and I was trying to find a philosophical reason. And I know it's just a cartoon show having some connections with a music genre. Well, not a genre, but like Korean music. Like it's like those two things can like correlate, but there's no like causation for anything, right? But as you know, this channel and me, I love. I know a lot of people are going to say like, oh, this is not that deep, but if you know my content, you know that things do get that deep in this in this channel. So yeah, I was like, okay, what was it that really made me want to listen to K-pop? What really got me into this? And I was thinking, well, maybe it was because that I kind of hadn't experienced girl groups in the way I used to. I mean, like, Winx Club is a fictional band and a fictional girl group, right? And the last time I experienced, like, girl groups was, like, Fifth Harmony. And Fifth Harmony has kind of, like, disbanded years ago. And I guess, like, I wasn't I wasn't, like, a huge Fifth Harmony stan, but, like, I did listen to a lot of their music. Like, it was on my rotation as... I don't know how old, I was not old enough to have a device and a playlist, but you know what I'm saying. And I think that K-pop kind of filled that hole in my heart. That, of course, if you know the history of Fifth Harmony, that's not exactly, this next sentence is not going to pair up, but, like, seeing that, like, level of unity in, like, a girl group working together, like, not just, like, in variety content, but making sure, like, each member is comfortable on stage. I find that to be very heartwarming. And, you know, it reminded me of Winx Club for some reason. But then I felt like that wasn't the correct answer. A part of me was like, is it because each member has her own, like, color that is associated with her? Do I enjoy that? And I'm like, that's not a solid reason. And then I started thinking about what I loved about Winx Club and what I currently love about K-pop. And with Winx Club, the fashion was something I enjoyed immensely. Like, Winx Club was a very visual show. Like, each of the girls had a distinct style, they had a distinct aesthetic. Like, they made sure that, like, Musa, who was an Asian-coded character, had Asian influences in her wardrobe. So it was, like, so not interesting. That was the right word. It was so interesting to me to see, like, each member have something that made her different. The clothing was so beautiful to look at. Like, when those girls, like, popped out in their season 3 gowns, it was so mesmerizing to see, like, how beautiful their hair was and how, like, they were all in gowns, but they didn't look messy or out of place. They all looked like they were part of the same group, but they weren't uniform. They were just stylistically so different, but they were so cohesive at the same time. Like, I think what I loved about the Winx is that the expression that each outfit gave, there was intention behind each outfit. And, you know, I'm talking especially about seasons 1 to 4. There are moments in the later seasons where, yes, the fashion game was on point, but specifically I'm talking about 1 to 4. I felt very, like, I felt so inspired, even though I'm not exactly, like, in my own personal life, I'm not, like, known to, like, be a fashion girly, but I do love looking at pretty clothing. And, you know, when I got into K-pop, I really was mesmerized by the fashion, and especially IVE's clothing. Like, I've always wanted to wear an outfit that, like, Wonyoung has worn. Like, any member from IVE, their outfits are so good, they're so pretty, and they remind me of Winx Club so much. Like, they have this etherealness about them. But, that being said, I cut off my own mic, and now I don't even know if this sentence sounds even grammatically correct, even though I probably have made so many errors. But anyway, I would kill to wear an IVE outfit. Like, anyway. Moving on, one last thing I want to talk about is which groups I think the Winx girls would fit into. So Bloom would be Twice because of the romantic nature of the group. Maybe not fashion-wise, but musically, yes. Stella would fit Red Velvet thematically, but fashion-wise, I feel like she would, I don't know. I feel like she would fit IVE. But then I want to put Flora in IVE, because even though she's not a princess, there's something so ethereal about Flora. I mean, her color palette is very, very pretty to look at. Like, the Winx creators did a really good job in putting her palettes of, like, green and pink together. It was just flawless. Musa would fit into NMIXX because they're both very experimental in nature, whether that be Musa's fashion or, like, NMIXX's music. It just works. Yisha would fit into LE SSERAFIM, or she would fit into ITZY. I think it's because both groups are very good performers, and Aisha is known to be, like, the GOAT in dancing in this show, canonically. And Tekna, without a doubt, she would fit into aespa. Like, the, technology theme of aespa just rings so well. The lore is just so fitting. And, any winter outfit just fits Tekna. But, again, you can if anyone could make or give me, like, other groups that the girls would fit better into, I am totally open to that. Of course, it's just, like, headcanoning, so it's, like, it doesn't really matter. But anyway, that's all I really had to say. I guess the conclusion of this would be that I love fashion. I might not be able to express that I do, but I love looking at fashion. I love looking at the history of art. I just really, really, really appreciate... Well, I've just started getting into art history, but, as an artist, as a writer, I think just analyzing art is just a very interesting thing. And I did want to get a video out so you knew that I was, like... Because I actually had another video out, but as you know, I was not very comfortable posting it, so, this video was on the back burner for a little while. But anyway, I'm very glad that I actually got this video out there, and I'm very glad that I went on a mini rant, and I was able to express my thoughts, and this is kind of like a new debut into a new territory of commentary for me, since this is, like, something else other than Taylor Swift and K-pop. So, thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you in the next video. Thank you, and bye-bye.